Hello, I'm Charlotte Terrell, and today I want to talk about a few things. But first of all, I just want to welcome you to this beautiful, wonderful, inspiring event. I hope that you leave here empowered and enlightened, and I'm sure that if you don't know where your power is already, this event will help you to rediscover your power and will enhance your happiness and your joy. So let me get started. I'm Charlotte Terrell, as I stated before, and I really want to delve into being a boss. That's what I want to talk about today. Are you a boss? And in this particular instance, I'm using the word boss, but it's an acronym for bold, outspoken, self-assured, and sensitive. That's what the two S's are for. So let's really talk about all four of those, and let's do an inventory of our we bosses. Now we know that the real sense of the word involves being in charge of something or somebody, an organization or a company, running things, overseeing the day-to-day operations. But are you the boss in your life? Do you have control of who you're surrounded by, what you're surrounded with, what you're feeding your spirit, which helps you to come alive as a woman or man in this society? Our spirits need to be not only fed but full. And I just want to give you a little bit about my story, which involves a whole lot of being empty, being rejected, being lied to, lied on, and going through some things that life threw my way. But I consider myself a boss because I overcame those things and I tapped into the power within, which we hear about all the time, this power within us. But I really want to just talk to you about what that power is, what it means, and how to activate it in your life. So for me, I was in a pretty tumultuous relationship. There was a potential for physical abuse, but it never got to that point because I woke up like the prodigal son and said, I wasn't raised like this. I'm going home. And I decided to leave my thoughts and my things and go where it was safe. But there was a situation where I was pregnant at the time. I wound up losing my baby. I wound up moving out of state, which meant that I would be going to a place where I was not employed, did not have a vehicle because he had the vehicle. And it just wound up being a really difficult situation. I would probably venture to say it was my lowest low because I ultimately wound up losing the baby. I had to leave him almost on the run. And I was really at home with my mom with nothing. But I realized then that I'm a boss. Not because I had anything, not because I knew anybody, but because of who I was and who I am and who I am continually evolving, continually. Is that a word? Continuously evolving to be. I'm not a perfect person. I'm an imperfect person, but I am a boss because I am bold, I am outspoken, I am sensitive, and I am self-assured. But not because of anything, like I said, nothing that I have or nothing even that I've done, but because of who I am and whose I am. So how do you activate this power? Well, one way to activate it is to be cognizant of what it is that you're created to do and what it is you're created to be. Meaning that you live your life on your terms and you do what you are good at. Me, I'm good at speaking. well, I'm good at talking and speaking. Well, yeah, same thing. And I use that gift to impact lives. Now, in my speaking and in my communication, I try to do a lot of listening and a lot of observing because God blessed us with two eyes and two ears so that we'll do more talking, more looking and listening than talking. And although I speak quite a bit, I talk quite a bit, I'm very loquacious. According to my husband, I'm probably too loquacious, but I use that as a gift and it makes room for me. It makes a way for me. And people enjoy me because a part of or speaking is a part of who I am and what I do. Now, do I know anything about medicine? Absolutely not. Can I tell you anything about Einstein's theory of relativity? No, I cannot. Even if I put my mind to it, I could not do open heart surgery. Why? Because God did not put me here to do open heart surgery. And am I ashamed of what I do? Do I think I'm less than because that's not what I do? Absolutely not. I think that I am more than a conqueror because I do the things that God has empowered me to do, and I'm proud to do those things. And not only do I do those things, but I try to perfect those things so that I can be used all the more to fulfill the purpose that I am here to fulfill. So, staying in your lane is a part of your purpose. But there are two things that I really want to make you aware of in your purpose, and those things are this. Number one, sometimes during certain seasons, our purpose doesn't necessarily change, but it kind of is tweaked a little bit. I'll give you a big for instance. Let's say that you are a very powerful educator. That's been your lane. That's been what you've thrived in. You have all of these awards and certificates and acknowledgments for being a superb educator. Bravo. However, let's say, for instance, that your parent is getting older and you find that you're not as able to do education to the degree that you had been able to do it before, but you're having to pay attention to your parent who is getting older or who may be ill even. So a part of your purpose at that moment in that season is to ensure that your parent is well. Ensure that the parent that made sure that you got here and took care of you and got you to the point where you are in your life today, it's your responsibility at that juncture to ensure that they are well and they have what they need and they're functioning and they're taken care of and they're getting that extra love and attention that they gave you. So it might be your turn for a season to do that. Or let's say, for instance, you're a doctor or a nurse or an attorney, but you love to jam on the weekends. I love that because I'm a secret musician. That's a whole nother story for a whole nother day. But I do sing. However, it's not something that I concentrate on currently. But let's say, for instance, you are in a position where you are a nurse or a doctor and your schedule, as we all know, everybody's schedule actually, is very demanding and you don't have a lot of time, but the time that you do have, you jam on the weekends and you find yourself burning the candle on both ends because I'm a nurse and I'm a doctor or I'm a lawyer. And although I'm enjoying jamming with my jazz band on the weekends, it's too much. Now, does that mean that it's not a part of your purpose? No. Does it mean that you shouldn't be doing it at all? No. It's not a hard no, but it just may mean that you have to use some flexibility. You have to use some wisdom and decide Okay, maybe I can't jam every weekend. Maybe I can only jam once a month. So even though it's a part of your purpose and a part of your passion, you can still fulfill that by making sure that you are doing that when you can, but just maybe there are fewer occasions until the season gets to the point where you can do it more often. And maybe even later, that will be solely what you do. Maybe you'll retire from medicine and become a doctor. Become a full time musician, vocalist, or an instrumentalist. We just have to be flexible enough to know what our lane is, stay in that lane, but also be ready to be flexible enough to move if the seasons change. And if we're able to move into something else, we're a multifaceted people. So we have to be able to be ready to move forward into the next phase of our lives. Another way that you activate that power is through thanks living. Not Thanksgiving. I'm not talking about turkey and dressing and macaroni and cheese and yams and greens and all of that good stuff, the fixins, and don't forget the pie. But I'm talking about thanks living, where you are actually thankful for the things that you have. I heard a wise older friend of mine say to complain and remain, or that what was the phrase that she used? The more that you resist, the situation will persist. So all of that being said, all of that means that you have to speak to where you're going. If you're not there now, it doesn't mean you won't get there. But complaining and murmuring and talking negatively about your current situation will not help to lead you to where you want to go, but it will just prolong the process, prolong the place where you are, and will kind of even give you a negative perception about where you're going. You might be thinking so negatively about your current state that you get negative about where you're going. Well, I haven't done it now. All this time I haven't gotten it, so maybe I won't ever do it. Maybe I can't. Maybe I'm not capable. There is power in your words. Believe me, you have what you say. Read my lips. You have what you say. If you say you can't, you won't. If you say I'm not ever going to, it won't ever happen. So speak to your future and your current circumstances positively and affirm unapologetically that you will get to where you're going. But be confident in that, believe that, see it. Close your eyes with me right now and see yourself going to that place where you want to go and dwelling there and being successful there and walking in excellence there. But don't look down on where you are now. Don't begrudge small beginnings. Look forward to where you're going, but be thankful for where you are right now. Actually be willing and open to receive all that God has for you at this very moment and be thankful for it. And it may not look like what we want it to look like. It may not be what we want it to be. But thank God that it's not some catastrophic end. It's a beginning. Or if it hasn't begun yet, it's an opportunity to look forward to something, to prepare and to plan and to, like I said, be thankful right now. I've thought of an illustration of when I was a little girl And, mom would say what we're having for dinner, or I would ask and she would say. And sometimes she would say, oh, we're having meatloaf. Meatloaf. Not that I don't like it, but, I was a kid. I wanted pizza every day. I wanted junk food every day. I didn't want healthy meatloaf. And so don't let your life's circumstances be the meatloaf of what you have now. A closed hand does not receive anything from God. And so when you're closed to it, when you're turning your nose to it, when you're not wanting it for whatever reasons, it's not what you desire, it's not what you've asked for, then more to come will not come as easily. If you're not open, it won't come with ease, won't come with the gifts that are connected to it even. We get so excited. Oh, I got my dream car. Oh, I got my dream house. And then 5 years from now, it's just another bill. We don't even want to wash the car. We don't even want to clean our house. We're moaning and belly aching because we got a vacuum. So be thankful for what you have right now. And just realize that happiness is actually fleeting. You're happy about something, and then we're on to the next thing. Oh, I'm happy I got a husband now. And then he wants you to cook dinner, and you're just like, oh, Lord, why did I get married? Or you have to deal with whatever issues he has, and it's not as pleasant as you thought it would be at all times. It winds up being work. And so don't be upset about the work or the process, but be thankful that you've been put in a position to have this opportunity to go through this process. You have this husband now, you have this significant other in your life now, and you have to make adjustments. Thank God for the adjustments. Thank God that there's an opportunity for you to look forward to a happy marriage. And what does that take? What does that entail? How is it happy for both of you? How do you feed both your love bank, or have your love bank filled and have his love bank filled? I've heard people say, yeah, speaking of love, yeah, I've got my kids, but, I don't have love. Yes, you do. If you have children, you have love. You have someone loving you and looking to you unconditionally. And you might say, that's apples and oranges. That's not romantic love. Well, no, it's not, but it's still love. And last time I checked, apples and oranges were both fruit. So don't frown upon it, but be open to it. Plan for it. Prepare for the love it is that you want in your life. And look forward to it. But again, be thankful in whatever situation you find yourself in. It could be worse, and it will get worse if you're not thankful, if you're complaining, if you're bemoaning or regretting something from the past or dreading something that could come in the future. With all of those things, all negativity will only create more negativity. So understand that your joy can be full. Now, is it tough sometimes? Absolutely. No matter what we have, whether we do have the things that we want or we don't, we can always find something to complain about. But when you're in a state of thanks living, that's powerful enough to realize that what you have is great, but the best is yet to come. The best is yet to come, so look forward to that. So in being a boss, being bold, what does that mean, being bold? It doesn't mean to be aggressive or dogmatic or pushy. It just means to be clear, to understand, again, like I've said repeatedly during our time together, boldness means to be sure of who you are and where you're going. Another part of that power and another part of being bold is understanding whose you are. We were all created by God, for God, in His image. So He spoke a thing and it came to pass. He said, let there be light, let there be this, let there be man made in my image. He made all of those things with His words. So understand the power of your words. What's connected to your words? In boldness, be cognizant of your thoughts. Get your thoughts and your words in check. Make sure that you're speaking those things that you want and not those things that you don't. When you have instances where your mind wanders or it goes to things that are negative, yes, those things will come. Those thoughts will come. But you can immediately redirect those thoughts because God created us to be powerful, to redirect our thoughts and direct our words in an outspoken way. See how I said that? That creates the world that we want. Will our world ever be perfect? Nope. I can tell you that for sure. No matter what you have or what you don't have, what you want and what you don't want, nothing in life is perfect. But you make the best of every situation, regardless of what it currently looks like or feels like. You make it well by speaking wellness, speaking positivity, speaking that power into a lifeless situation, because God made us to be bold enough to do that. And in being outspoken, you speak out against what you don't like, what you don't want, but you speak out in a way that is uplifting, that builds and doesn't tear down. I read somewhere the other day, someone was talking about constructive and destructive criticism. Well, when you know yourself and you know those who are around you, you speak in love. And the person that I was reading this comment on, I think it was a comment, they stated there is no such thing as constructive criticism. It's an oxymoron because if you're criticizing, it's not constructive. I went blank and I don't recall what they said suggested the constructive criticism be replaced with. Oh, they said replace that with feedback. So instead of saying I'm giving you some constructive criticism, say that I'm giving you some constructive feedback. So that way you're constructing something and at the same time you're offering your feedback that will provide that person with the tools they need to do something better. As a boss, we help people to get better, not bitter. So in being outspoken, you speak out against, when I say negativity in this instance, I mean the ills of society, the world, and the negative things that are happening in the world. Those are the things that you're speaking out against. So be outspoken about abuses. Be outspoken about criticisms. Be outspoken about hurtful things that are happening. Even as adults, we are being bullied just like children are. Our children are. Go to a job and you have employers or bosses, or I don't even like to say boss in that instance. We have people that are over us that are sometimes bullies. And so in those instances, diplomatically, speak out. Be outspoken. Take an inventory of what it is that you are doing that could be improved, but also know what you're doing right and be ready to speak out against that and do it with tact and with grace and with love. Also, I said earlier that the S in boss, one of the S's, is to be self-assured. Life has a way, like I told you in the beginning, of knocking you down. But as I was told by a still small voice that I know was God, when I was without anything, and I'm the queen of starting over again, moving around and starting over again and rebuilding again, losing everything and having to rebuild again. But in all of that, the voice that I heard from God, the voice that I heard was God, and what God said to me was, "You're worth saving." So no matter what happens, no matter what's taken from you, no matter who walks out, when they go, wish them well. Because there's no such thing as failure, only lessons. So if you do something and it doesn't quite turn out the way it should have, could have, or would have, take that as a lesson on what to do better next time. Only when you quit have you failed, and that's what my dad says. Only when you've quit is when you've failed. He talked about realizing your greatness, and he gives the illustration of a fish. And I guess this goes in line with staying in your lane and being bold. A fish is a fish, when it's on land, it's flopping around, gasping for air. It's not any good to fulfill its purpose when it's on land, but when it's in the water, it realizes its greatness. So realize your greatness and understand that the power that's within you comes from the fact that you were created by God, for God, in His image. You're living a life of thanks living, being thankful for every little thing and every big thing, and also staying in your lane, being clear on your purpose, learning who it is that you are evolving to be and being that person without being apologetic by it, being proud of who you are and moving forward in that. Standing in your power and walking in your truth. Being sensitive means being sensitive to the needs of others and serving those people. It's okay to be of service to others. That's what we're here to do. We're here to, number one, love God. Number two, love ourselves, because it does say in the Bible, love your neighbor as yourself. So that tells me that you're supposed to love yourself as well as love your neighbor. And also love each other is also the part of what we're here to do. So if you don't know anything else about what your purpose is, it's to love God, love yourself, and love each other. So being sensitive means that you are sensitive to what you say, when you say it, how you say it, and to whom you say it. And just understanding other people's needs, helping to meet those needs, and helping to be of service to the people who are around you who have those needs. And if you can meet them, then by all means, help in any way you can. My mom has a famous saying, and I think every child that she's ever taught, every student that she's ever had, have heard her say, "If I've ever given you anything, give it away." So in that's how you pay it forward. That's how you move in your greatness. That's how you work as a boss. And that's how you continue to make this world a better place, starting with your corner. You are a boss, so walk in it and know it. You are bold, outspoken, self-assured, and sensitive. Take those tools and function in your greatness. Thank you so much. Be well, be light, and be love.